Смарт, первое попадание. О, Є! Сука, спалили танк з Мартом. Пал. Давайте. Там ще один танчик, ебать. А, это да? Сука. Ну, супер, Филин, это
Breaking news. Ukraine hunts Russian tanks with German smart 155mm shells. It is Saturday, January 31st, 2026. The front lines in Eastern Europe are shifting, not just because of grit and determination, but because of a quiet, a terrifying revolution raining down from the clouds. We are witnessing a moment where advanced European technology is dismantling the old Soviet doctrine of mass armor, one precise strike at a time. But before we get into the details of the hunt, a quick but vital request for you. Subscribe to Defense Reports, your go-to source for timely, in-depth military and defense reports. I'm Alex. Join me with Uriah in the latest podcast by Defense Report for a sharp, no-nonsense breakdown of the latest in global defense news, military technology, and strategic developments. And today we're going to cover the artillery shells that literally think for themselves.
It's great to be here. And this is one of those topics that, it sounds like science fiction.
It really does.
Until you realize it has been happening on the battlefield for 3 years now. We're doing a deep dive into what's called autonomous precision lethality.
That is a mouthful, but it sounds infinitely more terrifying than just artillery.
It is.
We're talking about the German Smart 155 and the French-Swedish bonus rounds, but this isn't just a spec sheet readout. We're going to explain how a metal canister fired from 20 kilometers away can decide all on its own to destroy a T-90 tank.
While completely ignoring the burning truck right next to it.
Exactly.
And we're going to connect the dots between this really high-tech engineering and some of the, bizarre footage you might have seen recently. We'll explain how a single shell stopped a Russian armored column cold near Vuhledar. And this is my favorite part.
Oh, I think I know what you're going to say.
Why the specific technology has forced Russian troops off of their heavy tanks and onto dirt bikes.
It sounds absurd, but the connection is real. We will get to the motorcycles in a bit, but first we need to understand the Hunter itself. Let's start with the German model, the Smart 155.
Okay.
If you were walking through an ammo depot in Ukraine today, January 2026, and you saw this thing sitting on a pallet, what are you looking at?
Honestly, you're looking at a standard, boring, green artillery shell.
Really?
And that's the genius of it. It's a Trojan horse. Externally, it complies with every NATO standard. It fits in the barrel of a German Panzerhaubitze 2000, an American M109 Paladin, or the new RCH 155, just like any, dumb high-explosive round.
But inside, it's a completely different story.
Completely. It is not packed with TNT. It is a cargo carrier.
So paint the picture for us. The Ukrainian gun crew receives a fire mission. They load this shell, they fire, it leaves the barrel at supersonic speed. What happens next?
Okay, so the shell flies its ballistic arc. Let's say the target is, 25 kilometers away. Now, with a normal shell, the goal is to hit the ground and...
Kaboom.
Right, go boom. If the Smart 155 hits the ground, it has failed. It is a complete waste of money.
Because the magic happens in the air.
Precisely. A time she's in the nose knows exactly when it is over the target area. A small ejection charge blows the base of the shell off, and it pushes out 2 separate submunitions.
2 of them.
2. So right off the bat, you are getting 2 hunters for the price of 1 shell.
2 autonomous hunters falling through the sky. Now, usually when things fall out of an artillery shell, they just tumble, right?
They do. But these have a very specific way of coming down. They deploy a parachute.
A parachute.
But this isn't just to slow them down so they don't smash into the ground. The parachute is, it's asymmetrical.
Asymmetrical, so it's lopsided on purpose.
Intentionally so. This causes the submunition to hang at an angle and spin. It descends in this controlled corkscrew pattern.
Oh, I see.
Imagine a lighthouse beam, but instead of sweeping the horizon, it is sweeping the ground below in a tightening spiral.
So it's scanning its own kill box.
Exactly. And this is where the smart name Soothsunder munition or sensor-fuzed munition really earns its keep. It uses a triple sensor fusion system to analyze that spiral footprint.
Triple sensor. Why 3? Is that just redundancy in case one breaks?
No, it is all about discrimination. You have to remember, a battlefield is a messy place. There are burning wrecks, decoys, hot rocks, farm equipment.
You don't want to waste this expensive round on a tractor.
You really don't. So first, it uses infrared dot IR. It looks for heat, specifically the heat signature of a tank engine or a warm gun barrel.
Okay, but a burning truck is also hot. So if I'm a Russian tanker, maybe I just light a fire nearby to confuse it.
That is why it also has millimeter wave radar. This is its superpower.
Okay.
Unlike a camera or a laser, millimeter waves cut right through smoke, fog, dust, anything. It measures the physical shape and range of the object.
So it sees the heat and it sees the shape through the smoke. And the third one?
A radiometer. This basically detects the natural microwave emissions of objects. Metal reflects the sky's microwave radiation very differently than dirt or vegetation or snow.
So it's asking 3 questions then.
Essentially, yes.
Yeah.
Is it hot? Does it have the shape of a tank on radar? And is it made of metal?
And it does all this math while spinning on a parachute.
In milliseconds. If the computer gets a yes on all 3, it fires. And the most critical part for the Ukrainian defenders, it works in a GPS-denied environment.
That's huge.
We know that as of 2026, Russian electronic warfare is jamming GPS signals all along the front. A standard GPS-guided shell might get lost. The SMART 155 doesn't care. It brings its own eyes. It finds the target locally.
That autonomy is just incredible. It makes it jamming irrelevant for that final crucial phase of the attack. So the computer decides to kill. Now we get to the physics of the strike. Why top attack? Is it just because it's already up there?
Well, yes, but it's a geometry problem that tank designers have been losing for decades. Modern tanks like the Russian T-90M or T-80 have massive armor on the front. We're talking composite layers that are incredibly tough.
But the roof?
The roof is thin, often less than 100 millimeters of steel. It's the Achilles heel.
Got it.
And the SMART 155 exploits that ruthlessly. But it doesn't just drop a bomb on the roof. It uses something called an EFP, an explosively formed penetrator.
Okay, let's unpack that. How is an EFP different from just a normal explosion?
Think of a normal explosion like a balloon popping. The energy goes everywhere. An EFP is like a spear. When the submunition detonates, it blasts a dish of heavy metal, usually tantalum or copper, into a solid aerodynamic slug.
A slug of metal. How fast are we talking?
We are talking hypersonic.
Over 2,000 meters per second.
2,000 meters per second. That is, I mean, you can't even blink in that time.
You certainly can't. And that velocity is why it is so deadly. It punches through that thin roof armor like it's paper. Even if the tank has reactive armor, those explosive bricks you see on Russian tanks, the EFP is moving so fast and has so much kinetic energy, it just cuts right through.
Now, here's a question I'm sure people listening are thinking. If I'm a tank commander and I look up and see a parachute, can I just hit the gas? Can I dodge it?
You can try, but the math is completely against you. The system calculates the lead time. From the moment the sensor locks onto you to the moment that slug hits you, it's a fraction of a second.
Even if you are moving at maximum speed, say 60 kilometers an hour, you will have moved less than 50 centimeters in that time.
So you are basically a stationary target even if you're moving.
Effectively, yes. If that algorithm selects you, there is no escape.
That is terrifyingly efficient. Now, we've been focusing on the German SMART 155, but in our research, there's another player in this game, the bonus round, developed by Sweden and France. Is this just a copycat?
Not at all. It's a rival, but with a different engineering philosophy. The 155 bonus does the same job, 2 submunitions top attack, but the way it gets down to the target is totally different.
Right, the SMART uses the parachute corkscrew.
The bonus uses winglets. Little metal wings pop out from the side.
Winglets.
It doesn't float down gently, it falls fast, and it spins aggressively. We are talking about 15 revolutions per second.
15 times a second. That seems incredibly fast for the sensors to keep up.
It requires a much faster processor update rate, and because it is spinning so fast, it relies on LiDAR laser radar instead of the millimeter wave radar. It shoots laser beams down to build a 3D profile of the target instantly.
So SMART is parachute and radar, and bonus is winglets and lasers. Why would Ukraine want both? Does one do something the other can't?
Well, range is the big differentiator. The bonus shell has something called a base bleed unit. It's a little gas generator that reduces drag behind the shell. It can fly up to 35 kilometers.
Okay, that's a lot further.
Yeah, the SMART maxes out around 27 or 28. So if the Russians are keeping their tanks further back, bonus is the tool of choice.
But the SMART's parachute That sounds more stable.
It is. It gives it stability. A slower descent means a more thorough scan. In complex terrain, like a forest edge or an urban environment with lots of clutter, that extra time to look can ensure a hit.
I see.
But ultimately for the Ukrainians, having both just means they have options. And for the Russians, it means nowhere is safe.
And that leads us directly to the battlefield. We're looking at reports spanning from 2023 through today, January 2026. This isn't theoretical anymore.
No, it is combat proven. And the context here is vital. As we speak in early 2026, Germany has really solidified its position as Ukraine's most critical military backer in Europe. The aid packages have been massive.
Billions.
Billions. And they are heavily focused on keeping these artillery systems fed.
Let's talk about Vuhledar. This seems to be the case study that really proved the concept to the world.
Vuhledar was a turning point. Back in 2023, the Russian 155th Marine Brigade, supposedly an elite unit, attempted a massive armored offensive.
Right.
They did what the Soviets always taught: send columns of T-80 tanks and BMPs across open fields to overwhelm the enemy.
Trying to win with mass.
Exactly. But the Ukrainian 72nd Mechanized Brigade was waiting. They didn't engage in a tank-on-tank brawl. They used artillery. But because they had smart and bonus rounds, they didn't need to fire thousands of shells to saturate the grid square.
How many did they fire?
A few dozen.
The sources describe it as a turkey shoot.
It was catastrophic for the Russian armor. We have verified footage of T-80s and even rare vehicles like the BMP-1AM being struck from above. But the real tactical revolution was the shoot and scoot capability.
Explain that for our listeners. Why is shoot and scoot such a big deal?
Well, normally artillery is a duel. You fire, the enemy radar tracks your shell's trajectory, and they fire back at you immediately.
Counter battery fire.
Exactly, it's dangerous. But with these smart shells, the Ukrainian crew fires 1 or 2 rounds and immediately packs up and drives away. By the time the parachutes are opening over the Russian column, the Ukrainian gun is already a kilometer down the road.
So the Russians are getting hammered by ghosts. They can't fight back because there's nobody there.
And the psychological impact is immense. We saw reports that Russian troops from that 155th Marine Brigade actually refused orders to continue the assault.
Wow.
They knew that climbing into a tank was essentially volunteering for suicide.
Which brings us to the motorcycles. I teased this in the intro, but this is a genuine tactical shift we are seeing in 2026.
It is, and it is a direct result of these shells. The Russian command realized that massing armor is a death sentence. If you put 10 tanks together, you are just creating a juicy target that is worth a volley of smart shells.
So they had to disperse.
They did. If you can't mass, you spread out. They stopped using heavy columns and started sending infantry on motorcycles, Chinese golf carts, anything small, fast, and cheap.
The logic there is just grim.
The grim logic is,
Okay.
if we spread out on cheap bikes, maybe the Ukrainians won't waste a $20,000 smart shell on a $500 motorcycle.
That sounds incredibly desperate.
It is desperate, it is a survival mechanism, but it is also a massive degradation of combat power. You cannot break a fortified defensive line with a dirt bike.
Right.
And whenever they try to revert to massed armor, like we saw recently in the Pokrovsk sector late last year, and into 2025 brigades like the 93rd and 82nd, punish them instantly with these precision tools.
It really feels like technology has forced a rewrite of the rulebook. You can't solve a precision problem with mass anymore. So looking ahead, we're in 2026. What is the future of this tech? I know Germany has restarted the production lines.
Yes, and that was a huge move. You have to realize production of the S-Mart 155 had been dormant since the early 2000s. It was considered Cold War tech that we wouldn't need again.
Right.
But in 2023, seeing the effectiveness in Ukraine, Germany hit the on switch. They are targeting over 10,000 new shells.
And these aren't just the dusty old stock from the 90s, are they?
No, they're modernized.
Good.
They have updated electronics to be even more resistant to jamming. The Russian electronic warfare threat is constantly evolving, so the shells have to evolve too.
There's also a new delivery system that sounds like something out of a video game. The RCH-155.
The remote-controlled Howitzer 155. This is a game changer.
Yeah.
Germany formally handed over the first units in January 2025. Imagine a Boxer-armored vehicle. It's on wheels, so it's fast, with a fully automated turret.
Okay.
But the killer feature, it can fire while moving.
Wait, hold on. Artillery usually has to stop, dig in, fire, and then move. You're saying this thing fires while driving down the road?
Yes. It uses an incredibly complex stabilization system to compensate for the vehicle's movement and the recoil. It can roll down a road, fire a Smart 155 shell with perfect accuracy and keep rolling without ever stopping.
That makes counter battery fire basically obsolete. You can't hit where the gun was because it never stopped being there.
Exactly. If you combine a shell that hunts for itself with a gun that never stops moving, you have an incredibly potent survivable system. This is what Ukraine is integrating into its forces right now.
There is one other development mentioned in the sources that I want to touch on, the ADW, the Area Defense Weapon.
Ah, yes. Think of this as a smart mine. You take the submunition from the Smart 155, the part with the sensors and the warhead, and you put it in a launcher on the ground. It sits there, hidden in the bushes.
Just waiting.
It uses acoustic and seismic sensors to listen. When it hears the specific rumble of a T-90 tank, it launches the submunition into the air. Then it works just like the artillery shell parachute, scan, boom. It allows you to create a minefield that attacks from the sky.
An ambush in a box. I do want to address the elephant in the room, though. We are talking about shells that release submunitions. Is this a cluster bomb? We know there are strict treaties against those for a good reason.
That is a very important distinction. The Convention on Cluster Munitions bans weapons that saturate an area with dumb bomblets because they often leave unexploded ordnance that kills civilians years later.
Right, the UXO problem.
Exactly. The German government and the manufacturers are very clear. The S-Smart 155 is a point-target munition. It is not indiscriminate.
So it's actively hunting something specific.
Yes, it is hunting specific vehicles, and crucially has redundant self-destruct mechanisms. If the sensors don't find a valid target, if there's no tank, the submunition destroys itself in the air or renders itself inert immediately. It doesn't just lie in the grass waiting for a farmer to step on it.
So it complies with the Oslo Agreement.
Correct. It is designed to be a clean weapon.
So it's smart enough to know when not to blow up. That is a crucial ethical difference.
It is. It's about responsible warfare versus indiscriminate destruction.
So let's zoom out. What does this all mean for the big picture? We've gone from iron sights to digital targeting.
We have moved from dumb iron rain to intelligent robotic hunters. The lesson from Ukraine is that precision is the new mass. You don't need 1,000 shells to stop an attack. You need a few dozen smart ones.
It changes everything.
It changes the logistics. You need fewer trucks to carry ammo. It changes the tactics. You can't mass your tanks. And frankly, it is helping Ukraine hold the line against a numerically superior enemy.
It is incredible to think that a piece of code inside a spinning metal can, floating under a parachute, can dictate the movement of entire armies.
It really forces us to ask a difficult question. If artillery shells can now hunt autonomously, and tanks are being forced off the battlefield by algorithms in the sky, are we witnessing the final days of the main battle tank as the king of the ground war? I mean, if you can't hide, and you can't armor your roof enough to stop a hypersonic slug, does the tank still have a place in 2030?
That is a thought that will keep military planners up at night. We will have to watch how this evolves as the technology continues to mature.
You've been listening to Defense Report by Alex Sanaria, where we analyze the latest in military strategy, global defense, and advanced weaponry.
And remember, staying informed is your best defense against misinformation.
Subscribe to Defense Reports, your go-to source for timely, in-depth military and defense reports. We'll catch you next time.